Parents putting their children out at 18. This is something I want to talk about. Every parent I speak to, they're waiting on the day their kid turns 18 because in their mind, their parenting duty is over. Now, we're in a climate and we're in an economy where grown people, I'm talking 40 years old, can barely get by. People making $100,000 a year, living check to check. But parents are still under the assumption that, hey, when my kids turn 18, they got to figure it out. They got to get out or go to the military, which I think is fucked up. I think you're a deadbeat parent if you have that mindset. I think your kids should be able to stay at home as long as they can to where they have the advantage when they do finally fly off and leave the nest. I'm not saying coddle and baby them forever to where you handicap them to the to being a responsible, productive adult, but you should help them get an advantage in this fucked up world that we living in this fucked up economy that we living in. How do y'all feel about this? Because to me, at 18, you're still a kid. It's 18. Even though it's legal limit to go to the military, smoke and this and that, you're still a teenager. The human brain does not fully develop till 25. So the fact that you think your kid is a full-grown, responsible adult at 18 is insane to me.
I think this comes from, and especially in our community, I struggled, so you have to struggle too. I went out at 18, so you have to do the same thing too. I figured it out, so you'll figure it out too. But I think the parents that do that fail to realize the position that they're in, meaning that they might not be in the best position that they were. And as a parent, I think your duty and your job is to make sure that your child has a better future than you. So why would you then let history repeat itself by saying, hey, when I was 18, I left and I dealt with all this fucked up shit and I ended up here. So then why would I let you do the same thing and have the possibility of creating the same, you get what I'm saying, exact outcome that I had? That's how history and generational curses, you know what I mean, continue to go on. Unfortunately, I was blessed enough to have family that allowed me to stay as long as I wanted to. Now I got up out of there because I was just one of them niggas that was on my job. But at the same time, some people don't have the money or the income to then say, hey, go ahead and stay at home, right? Because some kids got to work at 16, 17. And then at that point, a lot of kids end up just saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm a grown up, I'm out of here. So I think it's a nuanced conversation, but nobody should be pushing their kids to move out at 18 unless, I mean, they're, you know, financially ready or you guys are just not. It's a problem within the house. Like
I think that's a lot just more so in our communities because I have a lot of friends from different races and they parents don't even be wanting their kids to fucking leave. They all be putting in on the rent, you know what I'm saying? All got money to stack and save or do whatever they want to do. They be happy to be with their kids because that's how they look at it as they babies forever. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's more so in our environments. I think more so black people or Africans, we are the main ones that, like he said, not really coddling, but teach them how to really survive outside of that. Even though you allow them to stay with you, I think it's just better regardless anyway, because anything can happen. I think spending more time with your parents and life and just in general, because people lose their parents early. A lot of things, different things go on, and you probably wish you had more moments of being around your family versus actually not having family. So I just think people got to live their life how what's best for them and fuck what the world suggests it should be.
I mean, we all saw Baby Boy. You know what I'm saying? Mom's trying to get her back ripped off by Melvin. She ain't trying to have you up in the house. I mean, that was a real trifling ass scene, low key though.
But what did he say?
Was bringing her back.
Hey, but look, hold on. Since you bring up the movie, what did he say? This grandma's house.
Yeah,
you ain't never had to leave the nest if I ain't had to.
Yeah, but listen,
she never had to go get shit. Mama died and she got the house. So he like, fuck it, you didn't really go out here and just get it.
But she was a woman, right?
But Baby Boy, he wasn't paying no rent. He wasn't doing shit. So I think
he came to a position where he wasn't a boy no more, and she was kind of like, dude,
trying to push him out the nest.
Yeah, you're doing too much.
And on top of that, he's a man. You know what I'm saying? And her mom died and left her the house. That's the way it is. And when she would have died, she probably would have left him the house. But the point I made, the situation is more nuanced, obviously, than we're gonna give it credit for. Here's the thing. If you are being raised by a single mother, getting kicked out the house is her doing you a favor. Because she's probably just like, I ain't shit. If you stay around me, you ain't going to be shit type thing, right? I agree with that. I left my mom's house when I was 14 years old because I saw shit. She wasn't doing shit with her life.
Brother got kicked out and got smoked.
And that's okay. But guess what? Maybe death is better than living up under a single mother for life. No, I'm dead ass, bro. I'm dead ass. That's just a slow death. But ultimately, this is just a problem when you're dealing with single mothers, right? Men, even when they kick you out, like say they son, son, you got to move on or whatever. That's more like, I've taught you. I know I've equipped you with what you needed to know, and I'm sending you out there so you can go and make a life for yourself. Your dad's gonna push you out the nest when it's time for you to go. Look, I'm
gonna say this though. I'm not.
Damn,
gonna
why
push
you always gotta interrupt me? I wasn't done.
Hold on. I want to interject on what you said before I lose the thought, because I've even talked to men who was like, man, I can't wait till this little motherfucker turn 18, and I know for a fact you ain't equipped him with nothing really to survive in the world, but the fact that he turned 18 and now, oh, you can get off child support, or now you don't have to financially support him, you're going to send him out to the wolves, which will lead to, most of the time, failure. 9 times out of 10.
But how many dads have you really seen like, son, you got to get the fuck... You don't see that, bro. Like, I'm a dad, you're a dad. Think of how we look at it. Your dad might talk trash. That's what dads will do. I moved in with my grandfather. He talked a lot of shit. I don't know if you was raised by your dad. Was you raised by... your dad talk a lot of shit.
A lot of shit.
He ain't gonna do shit, but he talk shit.
Yeah.
That's how men are. We gonna talk... he might do something. Yeah. But, I assume he's, dark skin. I'm just kidding. But the thing is, dads just talk shit. We really soft on our kids, right? Like, as far as, like, you got to get out. My daughter, she can stay as long as she want to stay. I don't care what her mom say. If she want to lay in there. Now, of course, I want her to do something productive with her life, but she's a hard worker, so she will. This is a product of single mothers, single parent households, specifically with single mothers. And the reason they got to get you out of the house, 1, so their boyfriend can move in, 2, because they're not working. They're just on welfare. Those resources aren't enough. You're a young man. You eating up all the food. Your sister could stay. You notice that sometimes, that dynamic. The women could stay. Why? Because they can always get pregnant and then go receive county benefits, the entitlement programs. So do you ever notice that the women are welcome to stay by the women, but the men have to go because we're not able to just walk outside and go to the county building, and now we got $600, $700, $800 in food stamps coming in. So basically, men are pushed out because we are not able to garner resources unless we go work. But if you work, you're gonna want to have. But if you work, you're gonna want to come home to a place where you got peace. And when you start making demands like, bro, I've been working all day, y'all gotta quiet them damn kids down and stuff. Look, now you messing up the vibe because this is, what I'm saying?
Do you
Get
agree with kicking your kid out at 18?
I don't agree with that. Who does?
I don't. I also think that. Oh, you go ahead. My fault.
No, he actually go ahead. I already said I don't agree.
Okay, y'all just wanted to get that on the panel.
I know you wanted to be clear. Yeah,
exactly. So we all in agreement because I've spoken with other races to where they actually tell their daughters, hey, don't move out until you find a husband. Like some of the, I want to say the Asian community, to where I know their daughters, they're 25 still at home, and they like, hey, you ain't got to go till you find a husband because I want you to leave my house, me being your father, I want you to leave my house into your husband's house because I'm passing you off to him. You're now his responsibility because that's usually what happens when a woman gets married. She goes from the care and the protection of her father to the care and the protection of now her husband. Like they used to do with arranged marriages and shit before these bitches start picking their own fucking mans and fucking their lives up. But there are a lot of other races still have that culture in them. Like, hey, you stay here, get your money up. You want to go to school, get your degree. I'm trying to make it easy as possible for you here so you can be as successful as you want to be. Because let's keep it real. Most 2-parent homes, hey, we're set. We don't need no help from you. Like you even have some parents like, hey, when you turn 18, you get a job, you paying the bill. This motherfucker work at Foot Locker. Yeah. He getting a $700 check. After taxes is $350 maybe. And you want him to help you with the bills? Yeah. You're supposed to be set already. And you're depending on your child that you brought in the world to financially help you. That's also fucked up. If your kid is living with you and they get a job, let them stack. Mm-hmm. So they can go invest that money and bubble up to where they don't got to keep calling you for loans or move out and have to move back in and shit like that. Yeah. Because right now we're seeing a huge influx of kids, not moving even kids, full-blown adults moving back in with their parents. A huge, I mean like 50% of the women I talk to all move back home. And they all say, oh, my mom's living with me. No, bitch, you living with your mom.
The thing
Let's
is,
keep it real.
I think one of the main things.
A lot of those parents do that so the men or the women don't have to deal with the relying on somebody else and going through the things how somebody will treat you different from having it and not having it.
That's a fact.
I think that's a bigger part. So it's like for me to prevent you to going through all that, look, I'm gonna instill all this shit in you, get your shit right, and then like you say, you leave the nest when you when I feel like you either equipped or I know you're equipped to where I don't have to worry about you ever once you grow your wings and sprout.
The underlying issue with what the situation that we're speaking on is that the black community, we know how to survive, not live.
Right.
So
Fact.
when you know how to survive, all you can teach is how to survive. So that's why we say, you got to get out there. You got to just go. You got to just do it. Because that's how you survive. When you live, it's more so we setting things up for you to live life, not to just be out there, you know, first time feet on the ground and you don't know what to do. You're not equipped. So that's the underlying problem here is that the black community only knows how to survive. We don't necessarily know how to live and thrive in positivity. So this is where you see a lot of these issues like happen. Even when he's talking about with the single mom thing, it's a fact where she could be in the crib annoyed, you know, now she on your bumper, now you back on her bumper. Now in a year you gone just because of the negative energy of whatever they're going on in their life. So it's a lot of different things that do go into it. But to me, that's the number one underlying problem is we don't know how to live.
Yeah, we have a very, very animalistic way of like dealing with each other. Like you look at an animal in the wild, the mom teaches him how to survive, and then she has to bite him or something to make him run off and go on his own. We do that same thing. But ultimately, I think that most of this stuff just revolves around black people's idea of what freedom actually is, right? I remember my mom would say, man, once y'all out of the house, I'll be free to do this and free to do that. Was it the fact that she really was going to be free because she lives by herself and she's freaking blowing my phone up every day trying to have a random conversation about bullshit? We believe that that freedom is being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and all that stuff. Whereas, mom, if I'm working, I go get me a good job. You know, we both paying on the bills and the rent. You'll have some real freedom because you could say, you know what, I'm going to the Bahamas. Son, can you get the rent this month? Because I want to go fly here. Moms, I got it at school. Go do you, right? We just have a very short-sighted, instant gratification, you know, mindset. We just look at something and we try to reduce it down to the simplest, like, form, and then we act on that. Well, I'm broke. I don't got enough. Well, you know what? The easy thing to do, get him out of here because I had to spend $300 on groceries versus $150 for myself. And we just want immediate results.
I just think a lot of us is raised, we not taught shit. Like it's like, yeah, we're fed, you got a place to eat, you got a place to sleep, you got a place to shit. You know what I mean? You go to school, I go to work, and that's it. You're not necessarily throughout that whole process even being taught about, like you just said, instilling things of natural living to get you to understand how to live when I'm up out of here. So I think that's the biggest flaw when it comes to us. People, we got single home parents, they come home, they ain't got no energy to be trying to teach you nothing about nothing. You don't know nothing about credit, you don't know nothing about saving, you don't know about shit. Because they living paycheck to paycheck. So I think that'd be the biggest part.
No, and it's very selfish. It's very
Yeah.
selfish. A lot of times in the community, it can be very selfish. I know kids who was like, moms hid the whatever under the bed, or we couldn't eat. Like niggas used to say, moms hide the snacks, or I see niggas on Twitter talking about I couldn't eat a rib when I was a kid or something. I'm like, who was y'all parents? Like, who was y'all parents?
I
That's
had
crazy
homies
to
that
me.
had to ask permission to get water.
That's crazy to me. That's like, and parents don't
Water coming
understand
out the
what's that's doing.
That's
You get what I'm saying?
deep.
Like, don't go in the fridge until you
Yeah.
ask permission. Like,
Bruh,
oh
She
God.
just know you an animal, right?
And that's when you get 25, 26. Now you don't, you be like, damn. You see that shit start to be a trickle down effect, getting treated like that. Like it's crazy.
Bro,
I say this though, because to a point that you just made, that goes back to the system designing it that way because it keeps you as a slave, literally.
Right, that's all
you
I was
go
saying.
to work all fucking day, you come home burned out, rinse, cycle, repeat for 50, 60 years, then you got maybe 7 to 10 years of life to live. But the whole time you've been a slave, you don't have any knowledge to give to your kids because you were never given the knowledge, and that just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. Then you got motherfuckers like Uncle Ruckus who's happy because they can go buy a fucking cheeseburger and a new fucking t-shirt and they feel like they free and they can vote for some motherfuckers who got their fucking thumb on you anyways. But you feel you're free. Meanwhile, you're living the same life over and over for 60 goddamn years. The greatest gift is not money. It's time. Time is more valuable than money.
Bro.
The freedom of time that's freedom.
Bro, you can listen, first of all, why do we keep pretending like these people actually have jobs? These motherfuckers are on welfare, bro. That's what they're
Everybody's
on.
a small
so they
percent,
ain't working
man.
hard all day. They sitting around the house watching P-Valley.
Who are these people though?
These people you
P
talking
Valley.
about.
Hold on.
Bro
Who are
says
these
P
people?
Valley.
These people you talk about. Who
Which
like,
people?
These are just people in general. Who
No,
are,
because you said P
This
Valley.
how
Niggas
fucked
watch
up he
P
is. We
Valley.
talking about these people
There's
the way they
more
talk
than
about
just
us.
black people watching P-Valley.
Ain't no white people watching P Valley,
How do
bro.
you know that?
And let's keep it real. There's more white people on welfare than anybody.
These
so
dudes,
stop stereotyping niggas as being on welfare.
You just assume because you associate all black people with being
Nah,
degenerate.
when
you
you
goofy
say
dude.
these people, you talking about us,
Listen,
nigga.
I know you, goofy.
That's the way you look at it.
No, it's
but
the way we
listen,
know.
That's just the way you've been conditioned. But what I'm saying
ain't
is this.
conditioned, nigga.
Listen, who's watching Tubi? Who's watching Tubi, okay? We need to just keep it a buck. Ain't nobody oppressing you, bro. Ain't nobody forcing you to do anything that you don't want to do. Look, I'm not trying to cap for white people, right? But you got stuff like financial aid. I mean, if you come from an impoverished family, you got all types of programs, grants, all that. You could go to school. When are we going to stop blaming white people and just blame the true culprit, black culture?
Name 3
the
grants
culture
for me.
that, the 3 what?
3 grants. You talking about all these grants and all these?
Bro, there's a whole
Hell.
freaking, you went to college?
Yeah, for a little bit.
There's
I
a
did
book
went to trade
this
school.
big of grants for people
No, I
just
know.
because they black.
Hold on.
That's
let,
it.
Let
That's
me.
true.
Let
But
me.
the-
hold
but
on.
we
I know,
don't
I'm gonna let
put
you
priority
finish.
on-
I have to correct.
You got to interrupt.
I do.
Filibuster.
No,
Go ahead.
I do, because I have to make it known for the people who's watching, we aren't blaming white people and we aren't telling people we're oppressed. We actually preach the exact opposite. People who are oppressing themselves by agreeing to things that's going on and being done and laws being made, and they're just agreeing with it. So when I speak of being oppressed, that's what I speak of in that context. Like taxes. We all crying about taxes. We all crying about the cost of living. But yet we're all just going along with it. We're all just essentially agreeing with it by not doing anything. When they raised taxes back then, guess what? They had the Boston Tea Party. Hey, we ain't doing that shit. We finna tear up the streets. Look at the farmers in France. They raised that tax on them out there and they went crazy in the streets. We just complain about it, do a lot of lip service, but we still paying. We still following these goddamn laws.
When you're saying we, who are you referring to? Because you're confusing me
The
about
general population.
the particular victim class that you've aligned
the
yourself
working
with.
class of people.
Okay, but we're talking
is the
about
majority.
We're talking about poor people. Working class people most times don't kick their kid out.
If you're not rich,
when
you
they're
poor.
18. Well, no, that's not true. But
Middle class don't exist right
listen, the middle class is here.
Let's move on, man. What
Yeah,
else
we got to
got?
move on.